We have both of our big printers, upstairs and downstairs, are out.
Absolutely not.
Like, out. And
Is it the same problem?
no, two different problems, but two different parts that they can't get.
They can't get them, is that?
Yeah, so they were
What
supposed.
are we talking? What can I steal from my school for you?
We're talking like a huge. It's called a base hub. It's a huge, like the size of this table.
You
It's
should
old.
all kind of
thing.
need more paper.
We need like. So yeah, the part was supposed to come today, and it didn't come. So we called for an update on that. No one's called us back yet. So yeah. So and then in the meantime, I mean they're old. Like we're due to replace them the next budget year. So we're in the process of looking. I'm like, can we call around and find out what we can get like now, like today? What can be delivered?
We really like our guys in our school.
That's what we're looking at those. We like these people who service it. Like you call them and they come. I mean, the guy was here to fix it. He just doesn't have the part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and like someone actually broke a part, and then pieces of the thing that were broken fell into the copier and then broke more pieces. And so it's like a chain reaction.
I would not want to be that person.
Yeah, we've all given him.
I would just quit. I would just
Kyle?
quit.
No,
immediately.
it was Chris Cooper.
Oh, Chris.
So he can take it. He can take it. But so theirs broke upstairs. So he thought, well, I'm going to go downstairs and use theirs.
No,
So
absolutely.
now it's just, yeah, it's comical at this point. Because
Sort of.
We can't print, like no one can print. We do have a few other printers, but it's black and white only.
Yeah, did those come from that printer?
They came from, yeah, black and white only printer. And it's probably costing us a fortune because,
Is it like a desktop printer?
yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's just, Anthony's asking about the printer, it's a source of.
So in the meantime, just send everything to Beth.
Yeah,
I'll
got
be at
the
the
story.
school.
Yeah, so you guys were lucky you even got these agendas. I have to like go into someone's house and be like, can you print something for me?
We rioted 1 year, and now we have at least two
Toward the end.
on every floor in addition to two commercial.
Yeah.
And they're all named after musicians.
So how do you even remember?
Well,
What?
because on my floor we've got Nina Simone and Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, okay.
No, Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, okay.
Our two industrial type printers are Aretha Franklin and yeah, they're like they each are in their own room.
Yeah.
Like they're huge. What school do you teach at? Teach at the Kaufman School. Oh, awesome. So and then on another floor we've got Madonna. Madonna oldie but a goodie. Always solid. April's coming.
Winter's coming. Yeah, he was the only one.
He said if you have it, they won't. Sort of like carrying an umbrella when you're outside, keep the rain off and it doesn't rain. So- But yeah, we talked about Yeah.
Yeah, those weren't getting printed.
Yeah, no, totally fine.
Sometimes you get a better deal with 2 or 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's in the agenda, so like if you just click on that, the thing that says minutes, they will open. Or you can get them from our website. Yeah, I know.
Wild.
I know. Mike was late to the party on that. And he's like, no one told me. Everyone.
Well, I will say I found out from, I didn't find out from students, I found out from people, and I, a student.
I just do like news alerts on my phone, so I was like eating lunch and I found out the Queen died.
No, I had a student in the back of my car going, oh my God, what? The Queen died. What? Wait.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you where mine is.
You still need one?
Yeah.
Martin knows
We
where
can
they
get one
are.
after
We can
the
get
meeting.
you one.
Get you one. We need this.
Printer's still not working, but we have your.
We
We
have.
have shirts.
I have to, because school year's going good, I have to tell you what else you got in trouble.
We matching?
We are. There you go.
We're almost, I just never got it.
Sorry, guys. Plus.
Either one, yeah, certainly before you paid it, because if it's excluded, we're tied. Well, that was, as I said, that's.
All right, it is 7:03 on the 8th of September, and I'll go ahead and call our meeting of the Equity and Inclusion Committee to order. Would you mind calling attendance for us?
Make sure I can see everyone's names. I don't butcher anything. Okay. All right. Bess Bailey.
Here.
Yvonne Salinas.
Here.
April Jones. Martin Newton.
Here.
And Daniel Trotter. Gabriella Flores.
Present.
Zetta Hammersley.
Here.
Ashley Phillips.
Here. Great. Next item is approval of our minutes from 8/11. Has everyone had the opportunity to read through those? Can I get a motion to approve?
I can move to approve.
All in favor? Aye. Right, any comments from the public? All right, jumping straight into old business. Budget updates.
Well, no, it's $9,700 is what you currently have in your left in this current budget year, which does end at the end of this month. And Bess, you had some things.
Did we move forward with buying the mailers?
We did not.
Can we buy more T-shirts?
I have.
I mean, I'm never a proponent of giving money back.
Correct. As far as that goes, I think one thing we did talk about was buying the mailers. If we wanted to move forward with doing that, that would take up, I don't remember, do you remember how much it was?
Yeah, it was about $2,000, if
Great.
my memory serves. I'll need the content, yeah.
What was the mailer going to say? Can you remind me? Sorry.
It was cute, and it said North Kansas City United, and
Oh, so just something like that?
something like that. And I think it
Okay.
also had, we'd want to do like our contact information, our meeting dates, things like that.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
But we can put that together.
Like lickety split?
Yeah.
So does it have to be invoiced?
I
By
would need to have
9:30?
ordered them
Okay.
by the end of the month, yeah.
Okay.
Great. And then another couple things I was thinking about ways to spend the money. I reached out to Parks and Rec, but I haven't heard back for Trunk or Treat. But if we set some money aside for that, because candy is ridiculously expensive right now. And then other things that are coming up are the Parks and Rec scarves, hats, and gloves at Mackin Park, which would serve one of our purposes of supporting our houseless community in North Kansas City, as well as potentially making some larger donations to food pantries in town, especially as the holidays are coming up, knowing that inflation has really hit some of our lower income families pretty hard. And then those mailers.
We cannot make a donation. So that money cannot pass from the city to another nonprofit organization. It has to be for tangible items.
What
We can't-
about, for the scarves, hats, and gloves for the Parks and Rec?
So we could purchase scarves,
Right.
hats, and gloves. Yes.
Yeah, not,
Yeah, like we can't write a check to harvesters.
no, but I was thinking we could buy items could we buy items for them?
That's for a nonprofit organization is your thought on that?
Or does the city have a food bank we partner with?
I think I love that idea. I understand. I'm not aware of all the different nonprofits just housed in this, but I do know that if we're only supporting one, so I'm wondering if there is a way around this kind of where we purchase our own hats, gloves, things, and we do like one of our events or whatnot, and we might just choose to go to Mackin Park one evening and like hand out things or something, but on behalf of North Kansas City or our EIC. But I do think that it has to be something from us, not kind of like what you mentioned for another nonprofit, unless there's policies or regulations that.
Oh, we give out T-shirts.
Well,
so.
there's just pretty strong statute and case law that says that a public entity cannot make a donation really to anyone. Like we can't just
even not,
give, you know what I mean?
yeah, even not a
Um,
nonprofit, even if
so
it's
even
just
a
us
board.
handing out stuff like
Like
candy at
even-
a trunk or
There's-
treat.
There's cases where we contract for services with them,
Right.
but we can't just.
give.
Yeah,
Here.
give a donation.
Yeah.
But we could, I like your idea of creating some kind of an event, maybe partnering with Uplift or having a table at the end of Highway 9 Bridge every Tuesday or Wednesday night whenever they do distribution. We could have a table with T-shirts and gloves and hats. So it'd be it'd just be an event saying, all are welcome in North Kansas City.
When we think about the budget, what category would that? How would we like to label that? Because I don't think we can label it donations.
It's just like T-shirts,
So
swag.
okay,
What is some of our language in our, what is that called? That we're working on?
The pledge.
Strategic plan.
Oh.
As far as like our community engagement.
so we have marketing supplies, and in that I did put T-shirts as like we're giving that out. Stickers, name tags, banners, mailers, all fit under the marketing supplies, and we can still change this. Then we have the contract partnership. So we talked about the DEI consultants, which we could still. We talked about there's a limit. If we spend over a certain amount, then we have to get approval by the city. What's the minimum amount,
Well, we have to go out for bid. if
regardless
it's-
of price?
Well, are you thinking it's going to be less than $1,000? I mean, that's the
Is that the
issue we run into. Yeah.
Because even if we hired somebody for like an hour consultation or like 2 hour consultation, I think that we could get something within that budget where we don't have to put it to contract, but I don't know. I mean, we only have not even 30 days, and so it feels like grasping for straws right now in that I like focusing on buying more shirts. I think the mailers, which would do $2,000. T-shirts, how much were T-shirts? And how much do we have left? Do we know?
We've used about 10 T-shirts.
Right.
How many did we order?
Many.
Okay. Okay.
Let's order something else for that.
Okay.
Well, but when we start giving them out later, we may not have the money for it. So I say we order T-shirts and order more merchandise right now, because we may not have the money later.
And just keeping in mind that we get a second 10 grand, like we're being worked into the budget come October 1.
Right.
So
There was 10,000, come October 1, you have 10,000 for the following year. So I, joking with Councilmember Saper, but the administrator in me says, you don't have to spend it all.
But it is there. Yeah, if there's stuff to get.
Storage wise on the t-shirts, if we did want to, so we're definitely going to do the mailers, it sounds like. If we want to order more t-shirts, it does not sound like we have to do it this go round because we'll still have money come next fiscal year for that. But my concern also is storage. If we haven't given much away and we don't have necessarily projected events coming up to hand them out, I think that they're just being stored back there, and I want to be mindful of if we order
Yeah, I'll
more
just
boxes.
say, if you guys are gonna order more t-shirts, they're gonna have to live at someone's house, because we're out of shelf space for them.
Yeah.
Or really anything, like if you're gonna order items, we'd have to think about where we were gonna put that.
Okay.
We still have flags and banners too, don't we?
Yeah.
There are a few events coming up that are like there's typically a craft fair at the Parks and Rec building for like Christmas. There is trunk or treat if we had the opportunity to hand out things, like have other things in addition to candy. That could be a good opportunity to have a place where we could give things to members of the community. We did talk about doing that. I just haven't heard back from Parks and Rec, but I also know I emailed them in August for an October event.
I know the last work session I was at, we kind of talked about community engagement and how we could use some of our funds to do that. And we kind of explored the idea of like a public arts project sponsored by our committee. I'm thinking like a quick win just to, use our budget by the end of the month might be putting a call for an artist to do like a live painting or something to engage, the rest of our community at one of the community events here in the next month or two, whether that be trunk or treat or something else. That might be something that's worth exploring because it's something that we could, put out pretty simply by the end of the month and have. I don't. Would a call for an artist have to have like a bid on it, or could we put a number to it?
We don't do a bid process on ours when we do it for the
Okay. So I mean,
Arts Commission. So the call to artists really is the bid process.
Right.
So
could we put like a 2K or whatever number, $500, and say like, we'll pay you this to come do a live painting or something like that? Yeah. Well, that's just something I'm thinking we might be able to explore. It might be, and then it could, I don't know if you guys got the wall space in here to put up a piece of art, or it could be like a fold up canvas that we tote around with us to other events, something that can live on and come with us to different events. Just a thought. I love that idea because we could put the call for open it up, have somebody hopefully contracted by the end of the month, but we don't have to use their services like
Exactly.
you said until the actual event. And so Zetta, would you be able, because I know that is like your wheelhouse, do you think that you would be able to like write up a brief? Yeah, I mean, I have templates available that I could just literally just sub in, whatever event or project we're wanting to commission it for. And I can also utilize my network of folks if that's allowed. Otherwise, we could just share it on social media, and I'm sure, artists either from North Kansas City or in the metro area would apply.
I think it has to be expended by
yeah.
9:30.
So for that, we would have to do it. Like the project would have to be done in this fiscal year. That's certainly something to explore for next fiscal year. But the other thing to consider too is if you just did like a small piece of art and you took that with you and it didn't live permanently in a city building, on a city building, in public right of way, that's easier. Once we get into putting things up on city property, then we need insurance, we need bonds, we need all kinds of things from the artist. I just know because we have to do that when we do our public art. So that opens up a whole nother can of worms.
I have not looked at the calendar of events for this month, so I don't know if there is any, but.
I think there might be one movie in the park left this month.
We could always auction it at one of our events or something and put the money back to
Yeah.
The events that are coming up in the next that if we wanted to get supplies to hand things out or to like have a table of giveaways, trunk or treat. Do you know if the craft fair is happening at the Parks and Rec building?
Yeah. The Mistletoe Market.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's doing that again. I think she put the date out. October 15th.
I feel like in my head it's in November.
Yeah, it's usually in November, I think.
And then the other one is the Christmas tree lighting. Are we planning on doing that again?
Is it the same? I just want to make sure that I get this right. So if we bought like the candy for the trunk or treat, if we bought any supplies that we want to like be able to like pass out on behalf of EIC, we can do it before September, the end of September, but we don't have to like use it by then. The only difference is if we wanted to get like an artist and we're paying for a service, it has to be within. Okay.
So in the perfect world, it should all happen in this budget year. We should purchase the candy. The candy should be used in this. So we should have thought about this a year ago, whenever. You know what I mean? Obviously, that's not going to happen for us right now. So, and this is our first year with this. So I think that's so that we can do that with the candy and then maybe other giveaways, because you're going to give those things away throughout the year, over multiple years probably. So that's fine. But yeah, if it's someone's coming in to do a performance, a service, it's got to happen in the budget year where you're expending the money from.
What if we, instead of doing more T-shirts, we did those little drawstring backpacks? So if we had things like pairs of gloves to hand out, we could throw them in that little pack and then hand those out as like gifty things. And we could throw in a T-shirt or candy or whatever. So we have so it's not just like, here's a bunch of random things we're going to hand to you. But that way we could have our logo out there. It would be around town.
And those are usually pretty fast to produce. So if we were to call tomorrow to the same vendor, probably it could be done by 9:30.
Yeah, or at least get invoiced by 9:30.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, maybe travel expenses. I noticed there were two ladies here, I think the last meeting we had from, I'm not sure where they were from.
League of Women Voters.
League of Women Voters. How about we have used some of our budget for travel expenses to go to other EIC events and other EIC meetings, just to sit in, just to maybe network a little bit, get our name out. Also, there may be some issues and how they deal with issues that may, not to copy them, but maybe we can not reinvent the wheel in some instances. It's a way to use some of our budget maybe for next year. Maybe we can't do it so much this year because we only have less than a month, right? But maybe we can do that for next. Also, there are a couple of art fairs coming. I think Westport and maybe Plaza. I think they have booth space there. Maybe get our name out. Maybe set up a booth or something like that. Give out some T-shirts there, maybe. It's an idea.
I like those future ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, so drawstring backpacks and then more giveaway swag.
I volunteer my garage for storage.
Okay, so would you like to direct staff, because we need some direction here if I'm going to make some purchases, would you like to direct staff to work with the Parks and Recreation Department to obtain a spot for a trunk or treat?
Yes.
Trunk at the trunk or treat.
Yes.
Okay, and to purchase candy for that event.
Yes.
Okay, and to purchase drawstring bags?
Yes.
Like, how many do you think?
Um,
You just want to use the same, like,
well,
as
yeah.
on the...
I think if we use the North Kansas City All
Yeah.
Are Welcome logo, but probably one color.
Okay.
With the way screens work, it tends to be much more expensive the more you get.
Mhm.
And then we would need to pick color of the writing color of the bag. Do we have anyone who's willing to work on? Because right now, I don't know the options off the top of my head. We'd have to get in touch with Is it Pro?
So I can do that for you.
Great.
So how about if I just do that, and then who would be the person to send it to make the final decision of whether you liked it or not? Okay. Okay.
Well, I think that's what Bess is saying,
Yeah,
is
if you wanna
that,
send it to me.
that it's gotta be one color of screen printing on a color of backpack in order to be affordable. When you get 3 colors of screen printing, is that what you're saying?
So when you,
gonna
when you do lots of
price it.
screen, I've made a lot of t-shirts in my day. The background color and the color you screen print using, depending on the contrast, it costs more money because you might, if you have a dark background and a light color, you might have to do multiple screens. So that changes the price. If you have to do multiple colors, also changes the price. But I think if we, like, our pens are purple background, white print. If we wanted to do something like that, just keep it really streamlined and simple with colors, I think that would work really well.
Could we do like a gray bag with the orange color we've got going on our shirts, so it's like slightly Halloween appropriate, but still year round you
Like
can wear
it.
gray and orange and it
Great,
looks
love
fine.
that.
Okay, I will get a proof of that and send it to Bess.
Perfect. And then,
Number wise, I emailed the parks, or I text the parks department. They haven't responded, but would you like me to get a number that they think is appropriate for candy and bags?
I think as far as like those bags go, we might want to use them like a different way than just like putting candy in them.
Okay,
Like having things like gloves to pass out or hat, like warm hats, things like that. That would be like my ideal, in addition to like having like a shirt rolled up in them for like parents at trunk or treat. So I don't actually know a number, but I'd also be interested in seeing the price before I just don't know how much they run.
okay.
Do we want to just pick a ballpark and say, let's spend $3,000 on the backpacks, and then maybe that's 300 bags, maybe it's 800 bags, I don't know. I mean,
If you're willing to hold 800 bags, sure.
I
much
got
garage
plenty of,
space?
yeah, it'll
I
give
do
me an
too.
excuse to.
Okay, I'm gonna go with
clean
a
out corner.
ballpark number of $1.50.
Okay.
Ish. And so at $1.50 per bag, we'll probably have a $50 setup fee. There's usually for the logo. How many would you like to purchase?
How does 2,500 sound? Dollars worth, sorry.
Oh.
Dollars
like,
worth.
that's a lot of
That's
bags.
a lot of
You
bags.
see
I'm
the
not
panic
gonna say
in our eyes.
Like, I might need some shelving.
That sounds good.
Is that about right? Doing the quick math?
So 500 bags would be $750 plus a $50 setup. Yeah. So if we
I
did,
like can't visualize this, so it's
Yeah.
really hard for me.
so 1,000 bags at $1.50 each is
Yeah,
1,500.
that's right.
Yeah.
Thank you for the math.
I think a
I think
1,000 is
1,000
probably enough.
plenty,
I think
yeah.
that's way more than enough. Maybe
Yeah.
I went overboard. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
That's a lot of bags. So
yeah.
I would bet that that's like 5 boxes of bags.
Great, let's cut that
So
down.
maybe
But
that's.
I mean, I can handle it.
'Cause we have-
I'll figure that out in my garage is fine. I just have one vehicle, so. I'm okay with it. But if you guys want to bump it down, that,
What if we did like 500 bags?
whatever you guys want to do. I just think there's going to be a whole lot of children that are going to want the bags once they see a bag.
Good point.
But I've also never been.
More shirts because we're gonna start giving them away. We're not gonna have any, and we still have money this year, so let's
Yeah.
get more shirts.
How much did we spend on shirts initially?
And how many, was it 250 that we ordered? Or was it more or less?
Because that way we can save the bulk of our 10K for strategic planning expenses, call for artists, those kinds of things that our swag is done.
If you if you have the space, I think my only concern was just where do we store those? And so if we want to do like 500 bags, more shirts, and if you,
I can store it.
You
I mean,
have
I have,
space.
yeah, I have space. It gives me a good excuse.
Should we
Yeah,
get
also
kid
not-
sizes this next time if we are going to order shirts? Especially for trunk or treat, kid size t-shirts. I don't know if we ordered those previously, but
It's a good idea.
Okay, so then we'll also add kid size shirts.
I have a question about the mailers. So Mallory, I think that that's something that you also take care of, correct?
Yeah, so I will take care of the ordering. I would prefer that you guys prepare the content.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. But you would order it.
Yes.
And then with the mailing, how does it get sent out? Is that something that you all do?
They do that. The printer does that.
Love that
Yeah.
for us.
It's included in the price,
Okay,
right?
awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can we, I don't know, like, Martin, when you were at Northtown's event and you had the table, we had shirts, pins, did we have any, like, table mailers to, like, hand them? And do we have enough of
Not really. We had those decals.
the decals?
Right. We had a couple of them there. We had a couple of flyers also.
Flyers, just like printed from a printer. Okay, when I can look into making a mailer, and then also in that same theme, if we want to print off kind of like hard stock, like sturdier versions of our information email, so that way when we're at trunk or treat, we can also stuff those in there.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Could we consider making magnets that maybe include like a QR code that link back to like the web page that like hosts all our information? So then they're always going to be relevant as long as the link stays the same.
Can that be turned around in less than 30 days?
It's just swag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Invoice has to go in.
Yeah. So you guys spent $1,170 on t-shirts
I
previously.
feel like a ton of money. I feel like we have so many shirts.
I'm assuming that's what they were because it's the t-shirt place we usually get them from is where the charge is too. So I'm gonna
So
assume.
it wouldn't be the pen.
And then you guys had pens. That's separate. Name badges and double-sided something.
The
Um,
feather, the flag,
Decals. Did you order decals? Feather flag and decals.
and the banner.
Yes.
Okay. What if we, in addition to I feel like they gave us a large format mailer and a smaller format mailer. What if we just got some more of the smaller format mailers without addresses on them so we could hand those out?
That's perfect.
Save us
Yeah,
making
like
it
an
random.
extra couple hundred of just blank ones that don't go in the mail. Cool.
And then I'll look into doing, making a QR code and seeing if we can also do like little magnets.
Yeah.
Too.
As far as next fiscal year, if we're done talking about swag, as far as a cadence goes as to like what our priorities are, to me it makes most sense if we did a strategic planning consultant to come in and consult on our strategic plan, put that bid out, so then the remainder is what we have to work with for the rest of the year since we can't set a price to the bid necessarily. And from there, you know, if it's 1K, then we know that that's 1K, and then we have the rest of the budget to use for call for artists and other stuff like that. So as in terms of a cadence, next month when we meet, that might be what we start, you know, to consider doing.
As in addition to like other things for.
Right.
Cool.
All right. We ready to move on?
Well, before we do, could we get, since we're going to expend money, it would be helpful if we could get a motion, like a formal motion on what exactly, so this is going to be somewhat lengthy, I think, but what exactly you want us to expend the money on.
Sure.
So I'm looking for item and quantity.
Does anyone feel brave enough to do that?
Yes. And I'm writing down, so I put mailers, candy for trunk or treat. This isn't me calling for a motion.
Okay.
I'm just like
Okay.
getting it. Backpacks, we said 500. T-shirts, did we say a kid size? But let's do maybe 250 more of T-shirts. 250 more. I put gloves on this list. Did we say gloves, or did I make that up?
No, I think it would be nice to be able to hand those out at some of our events, in like those backpacks. So,
All right.
Like at
winter
the
weather
Christmas
gear.
tree lighting and,
We're
yeah.
gonna
Are
do-
those going to be branded with our thing too, or just going to be gloves?
I don't have a strong feeling either way.
I think just from a logistical standpoint, to do a purchase of like plain stuff, I'm not sure that we can do that through this vendor. What do you?
I can purchase from anywhere, so
Okay.
it doesn't have to be through this vendor. So if you
Okay.
just want to direct staff to purchase black gloves
From
whatever.
Amazon, we
Yeah.
can send you a link.
And you
Okay.
don't have to tell me where. I
Okay.
I will find them.
Okay.
Do you need something for this motion? Do you need something as specific as X number of gloves?
Yes.
X number of hats? X
Yes.
number, okay.
I put 250 for gloves. Are we doing hats? We doing hats?
You lose most of your.
I'm not gonna go hats because I feel like that could be so many different variations of hats.
Go with a beanie, perhaps?
We want a beanie? We want 250 beanies?
Right.
Okay. Would you like me to say this all in one, or am I moving to approve each individual?
Oh, wait. Did
Well,
you say
hold on.
magnets?
We had magnets. Yeah.
And then,
And then-
We're doing 250 magnets.
Well, let's do 500 magnets so we can put a magnet in each bag.
We're doing 500 magnets. Mailers. I put two grand on mailers.
So if you would direct me to mail them to residents and businesses, just residents, just businesses, that would be sufficient. And then an additional, whatever you want for just the postcard size. that you-
200 extra.
Yeah,
or
no, no.
500 extra or whatever.
Okay, we'll do 500
500.
extra. Okay.
Do we need to quantify the candy? Certain
Good
number
call,
of
good call.
pounds of candy?
$500
If you could
worth.
put up to however many pieces, I don't know, 500.
Up to 500. Well,
I don't know.
how many? I, don't
I
know
feel
how
like
many people
500
attend.
pieces of candy will go very fast.
I like big handfuls.
Hold on, let me
for
do a quick
kiddos.
Say up to
of-
$500 worth of candy.
That sounds good.
Great, yes.
All right. Okay, was there anything else?
No, because like the
I guess I
Costco
was
bag
the
that's,
kid that
like,
also
this
liked.
big is $20.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, candy's expensive.
Ooh. Am I doing this all in one, or do I need to move to approve?
No,
separately?
you
Okay.
can, if you could make a motion to
Yep.
direct staff to do all of those things in one motion, and then we'll need a second, and then we'll need a vote.
Yep. Great. Okay. I move to approve that we purchase mailers for residents and businesses up to $2,000. And an additional 500 postcards. Also, candy up to $500. Backpacks, string little backpacks, 500 count. T-shirts, committee T-shirts, EIC T-shirts, for kids and adults equally in 250 count. Gloves, 250 count. Beanies, 250 count. And magnets, 500.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye. Is that official?
Sweet. That feels very official. Okay, anything else for budget update? Which I don't, there cannot be anything
I think we beat a dead horse on that one.
I know, correct. Okay, any committee updates, Gabby? I know you have one for us for North Kansas City United from the Business Council.
Yeah. So at our last meeting, I had been awaiting a response back from Rich Graves Groves at the NKC Business Council. And I heard from him like shortly after our last meeting. So, essentially I was just reaching back to him to find out what might be our next steps if we wanted to revisit with the Business Council. And I was surprised by his response because when Bess and I visited with the committee, the executive committee, and we shared our little presentation, their biggest concerns were the list of businesses. And so we said, well, we've removed that. We're not going to be thinking about that. We understand some of the business constraints. And so when I reached back out to him, I just maybe misunderstood the feedback that we got, because it was 9 months ago. Let me just clarify that. So he responded that the executive committee has not had any further discussion about the NKC United campaign. As we discussed, we're not comfortable with the pledge expectation because some businesses, due to internal policy, may not be able to make that pledge, even though they might agree with it in practice. Their failure to make the pledge might be interpreted incorrectly as non-supportive. So I understand that. So maybe going through the Business Council is not our strategy, and maybe it's, maybe the postcard includes something along the lines of, contact us if you want to sign our NKC United pledge, and we'll send you a window decal for your business. Maybe it's something as simple as that, because it didn't seem like we were going to get the audience with the Business Council. There was a secondary comment, which I really liked. So Rich recommended that it was valid to present the goals of the city's EIC to the membership. I guess there's a State of the City program for the November luncheon, which I'm not familiar with. But I thought maybe Kim has probably done that in the past, presented to this group once a year, the State of the City kind of situation. And so maybe that's a space or a venue where, on the EIC's behalf, the pledge could be conveyed at that point. And those that are interested can, are welcome to contact us. And I do still strongly believe that homeowners and residents and community members are going to want the pledge too. I don't know if I told you, but somebody stopped me about my T-shirt, and they were like, "So cool!" And I was like, "Come live in North Kansas City," because I was out in Overland Park, and somebody just stopped me in the hallway. So I think there's opportunity for engaging business community, just maybe not through the Business Council. So that's it. That's the only update. And I think April was going to be working on kind of, I had shared with her the document that I shared out last month, and she was to be working on, I think we were kind of thinking through a little bit more on the communication plan, like how would we outreach and how would we get it to folks. So I think we should just keep having this on a monthly, as a monthly standing agenda item until we get it all flushed out. Thanks.
I'm going to pretend like this goes under this and hope that it does. I think that we need to be cognizant of, we talked about in our strategic plan, helping the survey and getting kind of our baseline for our committee in that survey that's going to be going out. I forgot the timeline. And so I want to make sure that we're doing our part. I think the questions are going to be very simple of, do you know about, just like in that one section of the community survey, like, do you know about EIC? And that's a baseline, but.
So we haven't even started on that yet. So when we do, we'll engage.
Will you remind us?
It'll be an agenda item, and then we can flush out what that looks like.
Perfect.
business council's having their monthly coffee. And it's gonna be at 8 o'clock at the, on 18th in Iron District.
8 a.m., 8 p.m.?
8 a.m. Yeah, it goes to about 9, about an hour. People are just drinking coffee, eating donuts or something, and talking. That might be a good way to start talking to some of the business people. Because I think they've sort of lost track.
Nothing. Do we still need both executive sessions?